What up, y'all? This is Tracy from Nerd Squish, and today we're going to be talking about the Lost Boys sequel that you don't know about. The Lost Boys is a 1987 vampire movie starring Corey Feldman and Corey Haim. The film tells the story of two brothers who move to the fictional town of Santa Carla with their divorced mother, only to find out that the town is a haven for vampires. And it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I love everything about this movie. The 80s fashion, the comedy, the Coreys, the saxophone solos. I still believe. The cult classic movie spawned two sequels, the first being Lost Boys: The Tribe, released in 2008, and Lost Boys: The Thirst, released in 2010. And they were, well, underwhelming. They failed to capture the magic of the original, as most sequels do. And to be perfectly honest, I don't remember anything about these two movies. I know I watched them because I was like, oh, I love The Lost Boys, gotta see this, and then I saw it, and then I was filled with regret. So, you know, there's that. But did you know that there's a secret Lost Boys sequel? Yes, that's a lot of air quotes. I say secret because if you're not a super fan of the Coreys, or if you're not a fan of the underrated TV show Big Wolf on Campus, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. And I say sequel because it's not so much a continuation of the story of the characters in the movie, but the actors that played the characters in the movie. Now, before I get into the details, if you're a returning viewer, hey, how you doing? Welcome back. And if you're new here, this is Nerd Squish, where we take everything spooky and we take everything nerdy and we squish it all together. So if you like The Lost Boys, Big Wolf on Campus, and pop culture, definitely hit that subscribe button so you can see more videos from us in the future. Big Wolf on Campus is an underrated television series that aired between 1999 and 2002. The series follows Tommy Dawkins, a teenage werewolf, who uses his abilities and the help of his friends Merton and Laurie to protect his hometown from evil supernatural entities. It's fun, it's hilarious, it's campy. It's basically Buffy the Vampire Slayer for a younger audience. It's my favorite TV show of all time, and I still actively watch it all these years later. Now, at this point in the video, you're thinking to yourself, Tracy, why the heck are you talking about this random 90s werewolf TV show? What does this have to do with The Lost Boys? Well, this TV show is the reason that I became a Lost Boys fangirl. When I started watching Big Wolf on Campus, the year was 1999 and I was 10 years old. While the show is made for a young audience, there are a lot of inappropriate jokes and Easter eggs that just flew right over my head when I watched it as a kid. And that's a big reason that the show is just as fun now to watch at 34 as it was when I was 10. In the 15th episode of Season 1, titled Fangs for the Memories, Tommy and Merton find themselves fighting a group of vampires. At one point in the episode, they're hiding in Merton's lair and they're using holy water, stakes, and garlic to ward off the vampires. When Tommy questions their line of defense, Merton simply says, well, it worked in The Lost Boys.
Basing our entire line of defense on a Corey Feldman movie?
Corey Haim was in it too.
Oh yeah? Haim. I like Haim.
He's good. He's no Feldman.
Haim.
Feldman.
Haim.
At the time, this argument didn't mean much to me. I was a sheltered 10-year-old who wasn't allowed to watch horror movies or movies that weren't rated for my age, so The Lost Boys with its R rating was nowhere on my radar. But this was only the beginning of The Lost Boys on Big Wolf. On June 10th, 2000, the 11th episode of Season 2, titled Blame It on the Haim, premiered. Now you can guess from the title where this is probably going. The episode starts with the gang, bored, walking around Pleasantville as they listen to Merton ramble on about his newest screenplay. This is a thing that pops up in the show a lot, is that Merton is always writing some sort of screenplay or script, and he just rambles on about it while everyone sort of listens. They end up running into Corey Haim while he's filming his newest movie. And of course, Corey instantly has eyes for Lori, and he asks if she wants to be his personal assistant. When she turns him down, Merton volunteers and is hired. Lori ends up getting the lead role in Corey's new movie, The Curse of the Vampire Bride, after he kind of tricks Tommy into suggesting that she should play the lead vampire role. And even though Tommy suggests this, he is very jealous throughout this whole thing, because I mean, come on, it's Corey Haim from The Lost Boys. Like, there's star power there. You know the girl's gonna fall in love with him. Now, Merton is living the dream, being Haim's assistant. He is just loving every second of it. However, he discovers that Haim is actually a real-life vampire. When Merton tells Tommy this information, Tommy runs off to go save Lori, and Merton decides that it's his job to slay the vampire Haim.
Okay, Merton. The time comes in every man's life when he's got to show what he's made of. Sadly, that time has come. Okay, the headband's a little effeminate.
So he confronts him, and Corey naturally unveils his whole plan to make Lori his vampire bride, and then he buries Merton alive. As one does.
Okay, buried alive. No need to panic.
Now, the one big flaw in this plan is that when Tommy goes to tell Lori what they found out, he can't remember, like, half the things they said. So Lori's like, whatever, you're just being a weird, jealous boyfriend, and continues to meet Corey in the cemetery for filming their movie. But when she gets there, there's no crew, there's no cameras, and she's like, okay, WTF, mate, what's going on? And that's when Haim reveals his vampire self. Naturally, they begin to duke it out in the middle of the cemetery, and Lori gets knocked out. And it's at that moment, Tommy shows up at the perfect time and slays Corey Haim, who turns into dust. He finds Merton and he digs him up. Evil is once again vanquished in the world of Big Wolf, and the sleepy town of Pleasantville is safe once again. At least for now. Remember that screenplay that I mentioned in the beginning? The episode ends with Merton sending that screenplay to none other than Corey Feldman. So you know what that means. This is not the last that we've heard of the Coreys in the Big Wolf verse. So the series continues. We fight an evil werewolf syndicate, Medusa, an alien boy band, a killer cyborg version of Merton, and before you know it, we've arrived at the second to last episode of the series in season 3, titled What's the Story, Morning Corey, that premiered on March 24th, 2002. This is where the Lost Boys' Corey's story continues. In this episode, the gang is getting ready to graduate from Pleasantville High. One night while Merton is walking around by himself, he's approached by Corey Feldman, who says that he got his screenplay for the movie Headless and he wants to produce the film. Throughout the episode, Tommy and Merton are competing over the beautiful Sloane Taylor, so of course Merton uses Corey's star power to win over Sloane. While they're at the local teenage hangout, The Factory, Corey reveals that Merton's screenplay is not the only reason he came to Pleasantville. He also came looking for his missing friend, Corey Haim, because the last known whereabouts of Haim were when he was filming Curse of the Vampire Bride in Pleasantville, where the gang killed him. Naturally, the gang assumes that Feldman is a vampire as well, so they devise a plan to confront him. A good old-fashioned game of truth or dare.
2. One above my ankle and one on my back.
I'm not trying to brag, but, 37.
I don't think that's in keeping with the spirit of the game, but vanilla ice.
Well, I'd show it to you, but they cut it off and put it in Planet Hollywood.
In the last round of the game, Feldman reveals his true purpose in Pleasantville, and that is to stake Haim because he was bit on the set of The Lost Boys, and his bloodlust became uncontrollable.
I knew it! Who did it to him? Jason Patrick? Kiefer Sutherland? underutilized character actress Diane Wiest?
Feldman is relieved when he hears this news because now he doesn't have to be the one to kill his best friend. So he throws the gang a party in appreciation. So they arrive at this fancy party at Corey's castle and all seems to be good. Until they realize all the guests at the party are vampires, and so is Feldman. And not only that, but he's seeking revenge for the death of Haim. Thanks to a good old kick in the balls, they escape the party, only to later find out that Corey Feldman has kidnapped the love interest, Sloane Taylor. So they head back to the castle loaded up with wooden stakes. But when they confront Corey, he decides that the only way to save Sloane is for one of the guys to sacrifice their life. Obviously, Tommy's the first one to be like, all right, I'm the hero, I'll save the girl. And that's when Merton's like, no, I get my chance. I'm gonna save the girl. I'll be the hero for once. So when Merton walks up to sacrifice his life, Feldman looks at Tommy and says,
Now, Tommy boy, this is what it feels like to lose your best friend.
and that's when Merton hits him with the hidden stake and Feldman turns to dust. Big Wolf Gang 2, the Coreys, 0. So that's the secret sequel to The Lost Boys that not many people know about. Like I said previously, I had no idea what The Lost Boys was when I first watched Big Wolf on Campus, but ever since I saw these 3 episodes, it just stayed in the back of my head. It wasn't until 2005 when I evacuated to Houston for Hurricane Katrina that I got to experience this amazing movie. The hotel that I was staying at had free movie rentals. And when I say free movie rentals, like we actually had to go to the lobby and pick up like a physical piece of media because it's 2005. But I digress. Me and my sister went to go pick up the movie and we watched The Vampire Tale for the first time. And just like the first time I watched Big Wolf on Campus, my brain was forever altered. So thank you to Christopher Briggs and Peter Knight for creating a fantastic TV show that fueled my love for horror and led me to watch one of the most amazing vampire movies of all time. If you're a fan of The Lost Boys and the Coreys, I highly suggest that you watch Big Wolf on Campus. It may be a cheesy kids werewolf TV show from the 90s, but it's littered with horror references new and old. Some people may see the show as outdated, but if you're nostalgic for the late 90s, early 2000s, this show will definitely give you that fix. I'll link the 3 episodes mentioned in this video down in the description box. So I'm curious, have any of you watched Big Wolf on Campus? And if so, have you seen the episodes featuring Feldman and Haim? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so when new videos hit the channel, you'll be notified. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you nerds later!